What if I told you? Letting her go wasn't weakness, it was initiation. You thought your silence would make her reflect, that no contact would shake her world. But here's what they don't tell you. Some women expect you to go quiet. They've seen it before. They're emotionally armored for it. No contact doesn't break her ego, it just buys you space. But this video isn't about tricks. It's about transformation. This is for the man who gave his all, loyalty, time, protection, and got silence in return. She didn't just leave. She left you questioning your value. And that is where power begins. This is not about getting her back. It's about never chasing again. It's about becoming the man whose stillness isn't absence. It's a presence so strong, it speaks louder than words. Today, we're not just going no contact. We're going beyond it. This is Stoic Rebirth. And if you're ready to turn heartbreak into power, hit that like button, subscribe Stoic 95, and comment below, I rise by letting go. Let's go deeper. Number 1. Break the bond of fantasy. Most men notice the shift long before the breakup happens. The tone changes. The affection fades. Conversations become shorter, colder, more mechanical. She used to look at you like you were her world. Now, her eyes barely linger. You feel it in the way she delays replies, in how she suddenly becomes busy, in how the warmth in her voice turns transactional. But here's the thing. Most men ignore these signs. Not because they're blind, but because they're loyal. Because they believe love means holding on, even when the grip is slipping. So they try harder. They give more. They text first. They over-explain. All in the hope that maybe she'll come back to the version she once was. But the truth is, she's already detached, emotionally, mentally, even physically. And you're the only one still fighting a battle that's already been lost. That's not love. That's self-neglect. A Stoic doesn't beg for presence. He reads the absence. He doesn't chase affection. He watches patterns. And when the signs are clear, he doesn't plead for change. He adapts. He understands that when someone starts treating you like an option, silence isn't punishment. It's protection. So instead of reacting, you withdraw. Not out of spite, but out of principle. You don't argue for your worth. You let her feel the weight of your absence. Because the man who sees clearly and chooses stillness, that's the man who never loses himself trying to hold on to someone already gone. Number 2, become emotionally invisible. Most men believe silence is the weapon, that if they disappear long enough, she'll start to miss them. But silence without discipline is just noise in a quieter form. You may stop texting, but if you're still watching her stories, posting gym selfies for her to notice, or secretly hoping she checks your profile, you're not detached. You're emotionally leaking. And she feels it. The ego doesn't need words to survive. It feeds on attention, subtle or loud. Real power begins when you become emotionally invisible. Not just absent from her life, but completely unreachable to her influence. You don't wait for her to regret. You don't move like you're being watched. You rebuild without performing. That means no cryptic captions, no rebound posts disguised as healing. You don't glow up for her validation. You do it because you're reclaiming your dignity. She can't haunt a man who no longer reacts. And that's what breaks her illusion. When she realizes you're not playing the game anymore. You've left the arena entirely. Not out of spite, but clarity. Because you finally see, reacting, even in silence, was still giving her power. And now, you've taken it back. Quietly. Fully. A Stoic doesn't control others. He controls himself. So if she ever comes looking again, let her find a man not cold, but calm. Not distant, but untouchable. Not waiting, just gone. That's not revenge. That's self-respect. And it speaks louder than anything you could have posted. Number 3, master solitude like a weapon. Most men treat solitude like a sentence, a punishment they have to serve until the pain fades or she reaches back out. They try to distract themselves with noise, endless scrolling, shallow flings, constant updates to show they're fine. But in doing that, They miss the point. Solitude isn't where you wait to be saved. It's where you forge yourself. The Stoics taught that the man who finds peace in isolation is the man no one can control. Why? Because solitude removes the performance. There's no one to impress, no feedback loop, no applause. Just you, your flaws, your raw self. That's where real power begins. When you can sit with your thoughts, your pain, your past, and not flinch. Think about it like this. When she walked away, she gave you something most men run from: space. Space to see who you really are without distraction. Maybe before, your routine was shaped around her calls, her moods, her presence. But now, you've been handed a void, and most men panic in that emptiness. But not you. Not if you're serious about evolution. That gym you've been skipping? It's waiting. That book you said you'd read? Open it. That business idea you shelved? Build it. While she's out looking for attention to soothe her ego, you're in the shadows, sharpening your edge. Because the man who emerges from solitude, focused, silent, lethal, is not someone she can manipulate again. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." This is your retreat. This is your rebuilding. You don't train in silence because you want her to notice. You train because pain gave you the permission to finally focus. Let her have the crowd. Let her dance in the noise. You're becoming unforgettable, not by being seen, but by becoming undeniable. Number 4, reflect her energy with precision. She expected your collapse. That slow unraveling most men go through when a woman pulls away. She expected the pleading texts, the desperate late-night voice notes, the emotional confessions poured out like currency to win back what was lost. Not because she's cruel, but because it's what she's used to. It's what most men do. They crack under the pressure of rejection. They feel the silence and try to fill it with explanation. But the moment you try to explain your worth, you've already lost the frame. You don't explain, you embody. You become the consequence of her choices, not through rage or retaliation, but through stillness. No arguments, no justifications, just reflection. You mirror her energy with precision. She pulls away. You vanish, not to hurt, but to honor your peace. She chooses distance. You give her space with discipline. The space she asked for, not filled with questions or crumbs, but with clarity. She expects to trigger guilt, regret, attention. What she meets instead is nothing. No chaos, no breakdown. Just a man who holds the line, not to punish her, but to protect himself. This is what Marcus Aurelius meant when he said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." When she expects emotional chaos and instead sees emotional control, she's forced to confront herself, not you. That silence becomes a mirror sharper than any word you could say. And in that mirror, she sees not only what she did, but what she lost. The man who would have given her everything, but who now gives nothing. Not out of hatred, out of evolution. Because you loved her deeply, but you love your dignity more. And that's not ego. That's self-respect. That's power. That's the moment she realizes she won't get that version of you back. Not because you're broken, but because you're reborn. Number 5, erase the trail of validation. A woman's ego doesn't live off memories. It lives off access. She doesn't need to hear, "I still love you," to feel powerful. She just needs to know you're still watching, still reacting, still making moves with her in mind. That's what fuels her sense of control, not your love, but your lingering attention. A random, "How have you been?" text, a view on her story, a quote that just might be about her. These aren't signs of healing. They're proof that she still holds space in your mind. And trust me, she knows how to read those signs. These breadcrumbs keep her ego fed long after the connection has died. Think about it. You go no contact, but then you post a carefully timed gym selfie. Not for yourself, but so she sees it. You drop a story about leveling up right after she viewed your profile. You think it's subtle, but it's not. It's transparent, and it screams one thing: I still want you to notice me. You may not say her name, but your actions still chant it. And that's exactly what she wants. Not because she wants you back, but because she wants to know she still matters. That's not power, that's performance. And every act of performance is a step away from your peace, the Stoics taught. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Epictetus didn't say cut her off. He said control yourself, your impulses, your cravings, your desire to be seen. When you stop performing, you stop paying her ego. You reclaim your energy. Because here's the truth: the man who has truly moved on doesn't need to broadcast it. He doesn't post for her. He doesn't reply to bait. He doesn't even wonder if she saw. He just moves, unbothered, unavailable, unreachable. And that silence without effort, is what finally breaks her illusion. Not because you punished her, but because you outgrew her. Number 6. Use the pain as a catalyst. You feel it, that sharp sting of betrayal, the emptiness echoing in your chest, the quiet weight of being left behind. It's raw, and it hurts. But here's the hard truth that separates the broken from the unbreakable. Pain is not your enemy. It's the most honest signal you'll ever receive. It's not there to shatter you. It's there to wake you up, to alert you that something inside needs to change. Too many men bury this pain, try to numb it with distractions, or drown it in anger. But the Stoic knows better. Pain is a starting line, not a finish. Think about the blacksmith forging steel. The fire doesn't weaken the metal, it strengthens it. The hammer doesn't break it, it shapes it. Your heartbreak is that fire, your solitude the hammer. Imagine waking up every day and choosing to turn that pain into reps at the gym, into hours building your business, into strategic silence that sharpens your mind. This isn't about running from what hurts. It's about running toward a higher version of yourself. The man you were before was malleable, vulnerable, reachable. But the man forged by pain? He's untouchable, not because he harbors hate, but because he's no longer dependent. You've transmuted loss into power, and power doesn't look back. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Your pain isn't a wall, it's a doorway. So stop asking why this happened to you. Start asking what you will become because of it. This is your rebirth in silence. Not the man who lost, but the man who evolved beyond the need for what was lost. That's real strength. That's true freedom. And that's the power no one can ever take away. Conclusion. So here's what she'll notice. Not your stories, not your abs, not your hustle. She'll notice the void, the absence of your attention, the vacuum of your energy, the fact that she's no longer the center of your thoughts, or even a background noise in your day. And when that realization hits, it won't be your anger she fears. It'll be your indifference. That's the power of a Stoic. So if you're ready to stop chasing, to stop breaking, to start building, comment below. I evolved through silence. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this isn't just about relationships. It's about rebirth. And this is just the beginning.